Welcome to the Dougie Wuggy Story Hour. Coming to you today from Glorietta Elementary School in Orinda, California. Let's give it up for the Glorietta Gophers. Today's story is called J. Patel and the Coffee, a true story from when I was a teacher of a fourth grade class. So I had this kid in my class. His name was Jay. He was a very nice boy. Everybody liked him, but he had one problem. You know what his problem was? He's the kind of kid that always wanted to be first in line. Do you have anyone in your class who always wants to be first? No. But he would push and shove, and he'd run up the stairs so he could be first in the classroom, and he'd run out of the classroom so he could be first out at recess, and the first at lunch, and the first person back in the classroom. I don't know why it was so important for him to always be first, but it was very annoying. And the kids were always saying to me, Mr. C, that's what they call me. Jay's always pushing us and shoving us, and he always wants to be first. And I'd go talk to him and say, Jay, listen, dude, you don't always need to be first, okay? Just don't push, don't shove. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. It's just a bad habit. I'm like, yeah, it is a bad habit. And it makes the kids mad. He's like, okay. Well, I found out one day the hard way about Jay pushing and shoving. You want to hear what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So, every morning, I would go and get coffee at one of the coffee shops in Oakland, and I had my son Andre with me, and he would get a hot chocolate, and he would get maybe a bagel or a croissant or something like that, and we would zoom over to my work, and I would drop him off, and I would go park the car, and I'd go to my classroom, and my boss, the principal, was always in front to make sure we weren't late. And so one day, I get up, there's a lot of traffic, we were kind of late, but I had to go get my coffee, right? Because I needed my coffee, right?
Yeah.
And I get to the coffee shop, and it was super crowded. There was 10 people in line. The line was all the way out the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need my coffee. And Andrew's like, and I need my hot chocolate. And I need my hot chocolate. And my bagel. I'm like, okay, we still have time. So we finally get up there, and I order the stuff, and it takes them forever to get it. And finally I get it, and I say, okay, Andre, we have to rush. And we rush over to the car. I zoom over to work, and I look for a parking place, and guess what? There was no parking spots. You know why? Because it was street cleaning day, and it was no parking on this side of the street. I'm like, oh, great. So I dropped Andre off, and I had to park 4 blocks away. No joke, 4 blocks. And then I had to run down the hill. It was almost 8:30, and my boss is out there. She said, you're late. I said, I had to park 4 blocks away. She said, okay. So I go up to my classroom, and I write the schedule on the board. Does your teacher write the schedule on the board for the day? I write the schedule on the board. I get the class ready, and I hear the bell ring, and I hear the kids coming up the stairs, and I go to the door. I open the door, and who do you think comes flying in full speed? Any guesses?
Andre.
No. Jay Patel, the kid who always runs in. And he knocks into me, and my coffee goes flying against the wall. And I'm like, no! The coffee hits the wall, and it lands right on this girl's beautiful poster that she had done for school. It was all about the Taj Mahal in India, which is this beautiful temple. She had worked for 2 weeks on this poster, and she had made everything perfect, and she had just put it up the day before, and she was so proud of it, and the coffee just ruined her poster. And there was coffee and milk dripping down her poster. And Jay is like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, my coffee. And the girl's like, my poster. And Jay's like, I'm really sorry. And the girl starts crying. And then Jay starts crying because he was so upset and embarrassed. And all the kids like, ooh, Jay, you ruined her poster. You knocked Mr. C's coffee over. Ooh. And he's like, oh, and he runs to the bathroom just like crying and embarrassed. And then he comes back with all these paper towels to try and clean up the mess. And he tries to clean her poster off, but it just made it worse because he was like smearing all the colors all over the place. And she comes and says, stop, you're making it worse. And then she runs out again crying, and he runs out again crying. And I was practically crying because I didn't get my coffee that morning. So, okay. So I went to Jay and I said, Jay, you have a brand new job in the classroom. You know what his job was?
What?
To always be the last guy in line. You know what that's called? The caboose.
Yeah.
That's the last car on the train.
Caboose.
He said, I'm the caboose. I said, for the next month, you will always be the last one in and the last one out. Got it? He's like, got it. And so I trained him to not always be first and to not push and to not shove. And he finally learned his lesson, I think. And he didn't push or shove for the rest of the year. And then he graduated from the school and he moved and he went off to high school. And I didn't see him for about maybe 6 or 7 years. And one day, I was in Alameda at 7-Eleven. And I hear this voice say, hey, Mr. C, it's me, Jay Patel from St. Paul's. I'm like, Jay Patel? I haven't seen you in 6 years. He was huge. He was like the size of a football player now. He was like 17. And I'm like, Jay, how you doing? I heard you moved to Alameda. He said, yep. And I play for the football team. And I'm like, what position? Let me guess. Are you the guy up front that always knocks into people? He goes, how'd you know? I said, do you remember the time that you ran in the room and you knocked my coffee against the wall and you ruined that girl's poster? He said, oh, I remember that. That was the most embarrassing day of school for me for that whole year. I said, mm-hmm. He said, I'm really sorry that I spilled your coffee. And then he said, you know what? Do you have a few minutes? I said, I have to go to work soon. He goes, if you have 10 minutes, I will take you across the street to Starbucks and I'll buy you a new coffee. I said, really? He said, yeah. So 7 years later, we go to Starbucks. He orders me a cappuccino and we're drinking. I'm drinking my coffee and we're laughing about the good old days. And he slaps me on the back and the coffee goes flying and it lands on this old lady's head. Now I'm joking about that part. No, but he did buy me a coffee and we laughed about the good old days. And we caught up and he said to me, you know, Mr. C, you taught me a lesson. I said, what's the lesson? He said, I don't need to be first. I can think about other kids. And thank you for making me the caboose that year because it taught me a real good lesson. I said, oh, gee, that's great, Jay. And I said, take care. I got to go to work. He said, take care. And I have not seen Jay since then. He's probably about 30-something years old now. And that's the true story of Jay Patel and the coffee. Okay, that's it for today's Dougie Wuggy Story Hour. See you next time.